This story takes place back when I was in 8th grade. It was summertime, and I played traveling baseball for my city. One of my teammates' parents had a cabin up north, and a bunch of us, maybe all of us, were invited one weekend. It worked out because we had a Friday night game in the city like an hour or so north of where we lived, and his parents' cabin was like 10 minutes away from there. We were just going to stay one night and then go back on Saturday. I think like 3 other parents were staying over too, because they were good friends with the kids' parents. Anyways, after our game, a bunch of us went to the cabin. I think there was maybe 8 of us there, and we had 2 tents set up for us kids, 4 in each. All of the parents got to stay in the actual cabin, and we had to stay out in the yard because of space. When we got there, we just had some food and played around on the volleyball court they had in the yard. When nighttime came, we had a campfire just for us guys, and all the parents were hanging out inside for the rest of the night. We sat around the fire for probably hours, and eventually got tired and decided to start going to bed. We all got into our tents. However, being the 8th graders that we were, we started joking around and prank phone calling friends and stuff like that. I don't even know what time it was when we finally actually all got sleepy and decided to go to bed. When we did, everyone fell asleep really quick, except for me. The lights all went out and everything became silent. My sleeping bag was at the far end of the tent next to the door to the outside. I had a hard time getting to sleep. It just wasn't that comfortable of a sleeping arrangement. The ground was hard, my sleeping bag wasn't that nice, plus, at that age, I still had a hard time falling asleep away from home. I laid there for probably like an hour, just trying to get comfortable and fall asleep. I was afraid to move too much and wake somebody else up. At one point, I thought I heard a noise coming from outside. I looked over and saw a shadow of what appeared to be a guy standing outside the tent. Whoever it was seemed to be just standing there, facing the tent, looking at it. But they were on the other side of the tent, not the side that I was near. I watched them for at least a couple of minutes. They moved a little, but not much. I figured it was one of the guys from the other tent messing with us or something. Maybe it was someone else who couldn't sleep like me. I decided to get up and go say hi to him. I quietly unzipped the tent opening and stepped outside. It was cool out now, and it felt refreshing. I walked around to the side of the tent to the other. As I did, I heard whoever was there move away, as if they were trying to hide from me. I went all around the whole tent, and when we got back around, whoever was there ran off into the night. I assumed 100% that it was one of the guys from the other tent playing around and joking, and I just laughed and then went back into my tent. When I got back inside, I was actually feeling kind of sleepy now, and thought that I would be able to fall asleep. I zipped the tent back up and got inside of my sleeping bag. I laid down and closed my eyes. Eventually, I did fall asleep. I'm not sure how long I actually fell asleep for, but I do know that I woke up sometime later when it was still dark out. The reason I woke up was that somebody was unzipping the tent right in front of my face. I watched the tent slowly open, but the person unzipping it was just some random guy. It wasn't any of my teammates, and it wasn't any of the parents either. I didn't recognize him at all. He had longer dark hair that came out of a cap he was wearing. When he saw me looking right back at him, he quickly disappeared and seemed to walk away. I looked and saw everybody else in my tent was still fast asleep. I moved over and woke up my teammate next to me, which was Zach, and he looked really confused. I told him what had happened, and it took him a minute to understand because he was still really groggy. I really didn't want to stay out there anymore, and I ran inside to the cabin. As soon as I got inside, thankfully, one of the parents woke up. I told them what had happened, and it led to a whole big thing. Everybody had to get up, and some of the parents looked around, but didn't find the guy, whoever it was. It was nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, and everybody moved their sleeping bags to the inside of the cabin, and we all slept on the living room floor for the rest of the night. I don't think anybody ever found out who that guy was.